Hello and good day. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Warm welcome to our partners and investors. We are now at pre-recorded webinar of United Financial Group. United Financial Group is the investment fund that started its work in 2019. And since that time, we have investors from all over the world, from more than 60 countries. And since 2019, we were developing the drug for cancer treatment. And drug's name is Alginar. Today, I will tell you all about it. Unfortunately, cancer is the second world's leading cause of death, and there are 14.1 million new cases of cancer each year, and 8.2 million people die from cancer annually in average. And this is about 13% of all of the deaths in the world. And in 2020, more than 11 people died from this disease worldwide. Sorry to say that more than 27,000 people fall ill with cancer every day. And more than 10 million new cases of pathology are detected annually. And unfortunately, up to 80% of cancer patients think about suicide, according to research. Now on the slide, you can see the global oncology spending from 2011 to 2022. It's in billion of US dollars. The cost of all medicines used to treat cancer patients has more than tripled in past 10 years. In 2011, the summary of the expenses was $58 billion. And 10 years later, in 2021, expenses has reached $187 billion. And now the market is expected to grow up to $300 billion over next 5 years. The top-selling cancer treatment drug on the market is Keytruda by Merck, and the sales of Keytruda in 2020 reached $14,380 million. This drug received FDA approval in 2015. And the sales of this drug since 2015 amounted to more than $51 billion. At the same time, this drug has a huge number of side effects on the human body. And despite that, predicted that sales volume of Keytruda will amount to about $27 billion per year by 2026. Now on the slide, you can see drug sales volume in 2020 according to S&P Global Market Intelligence Cancer Treatment Research. Keytruda is on top of this list with sales volume of $14.38 billion. Then there is Eliquis with $14.11 or almost $12 billion. Then there is Revlimid with $12.1 billion. Eylea has made sales for $10.7 billion. And Imbruvica has reached $9.44 billion of sales in 2020. And we all remember 2011 when the world lost the greatest mind, Steve Jobs. He also died of cancer. And unfortunately, even the availability of sufficient amount of funds does not guarantee the cure. Many, very many well-known and famous financially unlimited people have not been able to recover from this disease. Unfortunately, and sorry to say. Now on this slide you can see the cost of some types of surgery, including consultations, tests, medications, and supportive care. And you also can see that depending on the stage, the cancer treatment cost increases. For instance, in Israel, it can reach almost $250,000 a year at the stage 4. And regarding Keytruda, the immunotherapy costs $150 a year. And the leukemia treatment with the gene therapy drug Kymera from Novartis will cost $450,000 a year. All the cured cancers are at the risk of recurrence of the disease. And there is a concept of survival rate after treatment of oncology. And the average survival rate for all cancers is 66%. That means that only 66 people out of 100 will live more than 5 years after treatment, unfortunately. And fortunately, our company is developing a new pharmaceutical form in medicine for oncology treatment. Research work began at the end of 2019, and more than 20 pages of scientific papers on the topic of melanins and experience of using it for the treatment of oncology has been studied, and our drug is called Alginar. The team of scientists that UFG is working with has developed technology of breeding yeast culture. Also, our team of scientists and biologists has developed technology for extracting melanin from various yeast cultures that were breeded by the group. And it was done with least losses. Studies has been carried out to establish the molecular structure of the alkylating melanin using the method of solid-phase nuclear magnetic resonance. And also studies have been carried out for establish the antioxidant activity of the isolated melanin sample using the method of electron paramagnetic resonance. And the results were much higher than our expectations. We took the scientific work of Soviet microbiologist Svetlana Lyak and her drug astramelanin as the basis for our development. Her scientific work began with the doctoral dissertation in 1969, and in total, more than 30,000 pages of scientific papers have been written by her. The drug that Svetlana Lyak was studied and called astramelanin, which is the predecessor of our development, showed a positive effect on many types of cancer. And in addition, it has a proven effect on the following diseases: second type of diabetes, stomach ulcer, and bronchial asthma. And on the result of use in type 2 diabetes mellitus, Svetlana Lyak has received the gratitude letter from the chief physician of the Therapeutic Building 11 of the Medical Center for Managing the Affairs of the President of the Russian Federation. And also, Svetlana Lyak has received the conclusion on the results of the use of astramelanin in various diseases from the Doctor of Medical Science, Honor Doctor of the Russian Federation, Ivanov. Also, astramelanin received positive feedbacks and support from the heads of 3 Russian oncology centers, which rated it as a promising drug that reflects the latest methods in the treatment of tumor diseases. And now here on the slide you can see the letter that 3 of these doctors written to Boris Yeltsin 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago, when Boris Yeltsin was the president of Russian Federation. And the names of these scientists and doctors are Trapeznikov, Baryshnikov, and Tsip. You can see the signatures on this letter on the slide. Unfortunately, the mode of action on cancer cells is related to their toxicity, which poisons cancer cells and has a toxic effect on the human body as well. Almost all drugs for treatment of the cancer are toxic to the body and have a huge number of side effects on the body. And the good news is that unlike other drugs for the treatment of oncology, Alginar or astromelanin is non-toxic and doesn't cause side effects on other organs and body systems. The drug can be used as a food supplement by anyone, unlike other similar drugs with destructive effects on the body. And the great advantage of our drug is that it can be used both for the treatment and for the prevention of the disease. It is very important since the drug has no side effect on the body. Its use has only a positive effect and can prevent the development of cancer at the early stages. Based on previous tests, this is an absolutely safe drug for the treatment of oncology, which works directly on cancer cells and does not have side effects on other body systems. Already in the process of conducting preclinical and clinical studies, this is planned to conduct negotiation to cooperation or merger with large pharmaceutical companies in direction of introducing our drug for sales on the world market. Based on these data, we assume that the demand for the drug will continue to grow and may even exceed sales of many other oncology treatment drugs. This will also be facilitated by its safety for the body and absence of toxicity. You can see the interest in safe treatment, therapy, and health-saving growth on the scale right now from 2015 till 2021. So now UFG is working on patenting the development and preparation for preclinical studies, production of the batch of the drug for research demand, and also on in vitro and in vivo tests. And very soon, in just 6 months, we will be testing the drug for toxicity. We will do the registration of the drug as a dietary supplement and launch the drug production. And we will start sales of the drug as a dietary supplement through retail chains. And now let's talk about implementation timeline and required funding. According to drug development process scale, it takes up to 8 years to develop a drug starting from scratch or target identification till the start of sales. For our company, formula development already done, and now we are working on in vitro and in vivo tests. They are in progress. And next, for preclinical studies that will take up to 1.5 years, required funding is $1 million, and clinical studies, which takes up to 2 years, will require around $2.5 million. And regarding project economics and development costs, according to the U.S. National Library of Medicine National Institute of Health 2017, the cost of anti-cancer drug typically exceeds $100,000 per year per course of treatment. And average cost of developing a single drug in 2017 was $793.6 million. 5 companies have developed drugs that have received fast-track approval from FDA. 5 drugs have received regular approval. And from the approval to December 2016, the total revenue from these 10 drugs was 67 billion. And the average revenue of these companies in 2017 was 1.658 billion. In addition to sales volumes of similar drugs, we can indirectly estimate the cost of developments in transactions between pharmaceutical companies. And here are some examples of transactions for cancer drugs. In 2006, Pfizer Incorporated acquired cancer drug Camto from Avensis for $620 million. Later on, in 2016, Pfizer offers $14 billion for producer of oncodrugs Medivation. And then in 2018, GlaxoSmithKline acquires Tesaro, an oncology-focused company, and transaction amount is approximately $5.1 billion. In 2019, also Pfizer bought cancer drug maker Array BioPharma for $11.4 billion. And now let's talk about venture financing in the biotechnology sector. Below is the list of biotech startups that received venture capital funding in January 2021. The first 5 companies are at the stage of preclinical studies. Plexium is in the development phase and Remind is in the phase 1 of clinical trials. Our company is now at the stage of preparation for preclinical studies. And the team of scientists that we are working with includes leading researcher, Doctor of Biology, senior researcher, candidate of chemical science, EPR spectrum operator, senior researcher, candidate of chemical science, solid-state NMR operator, senior researcher, candidate of chemical science, in vivo research, senior researcher, candidate of chemical science, researcher, candidate of biological science. And for obvious reasons, the previous data of the drug development team members is anonymized. That will be all on Alginar this time. Thank you very much for being with us.